Hey guys, Atlas Shrug 383 here, and today I'm going to make a video that I've wanted to make for quite a long time to showcase my Springfield Armory M1A. So stay tuned and hope you enjoy. Hey guys, so I'm on my way to the range right now, and it's a beautiful fall day. Today is Veterans Day when I'm filming, and I'd just like to take a moment, if you're a veteran watching this video, I really appreciate your service. I appreciate your sacrifice. It's not lost to me. I did not serve. Members of my family have, and I think it's a very honorable and noble thing to answer the country's call. And some days I wish I had too. So, you know, I'm blessed in my life and my freedoms, and it's because of you and your sacrifices. So thank you very much. And that's what got me thinking about my Springfield M1A today. Is I thought, well, you know, that pattern is based on the M14 rifle, and what better day to talk about a service weapon such as an M14 rifle than on Veterans Day. I'm going to break this video up. I'm going to try to be respectful of your time, try to give you what you want in this video. The first part will be shooting. I'm going to go to the range, I'm going to shoot it. I'll try to step off the distances and things as best I can. The range I'm going to is not marked for distance. And then second half of my video, I'm going to bring the rifle back. I'm going to clean it, of course. And I'll talk about the history of the M14. So whichever one you like. If you don't want to see me shoot it, then just skip ahead until you see me talking again. And listen to me talk about a little of the history. Correct me if I'm wrong, and be sure to send me a comment. You know, I really appreciate that. And if you just want to see me shoot it and you don't care about the rest, then just watch the first part. All right, guys, I'll see you at the range. Almost at the range, guys. We're just a little past peak on fall colors here in Tennessee. If I'd made this trip about a week ago, there would still be some color in the trees. But we've had a cold snap and the leaves are mostly down now, so we're headed into winter season, I guess. There's the M1A. It's unloaded, but we are ready to go. We have some targets. I want to use my own target stand for this. But shooting from the bench here, distance-wise, the first target stand on the right is around 50 yards. The second on the left is around 100, and I believe way back there is 200 yards, if I remember correctly. Seems about right. I've never really measured much other than stepping off. Our ammo today is, we're just shooting bulk rounds, practice rounds. They're these Winchester 7.62 by 5.1 hard nose rounds that you can buy in bulk. Oh, and they're full metal jacket, 47 grains. Hey guys, I'm just walking down my target stand. Our conditions today, it's pretty chilly. It's about 39 degrees, and we have some wind chill. It's a mild crosswind. But I'm not shooting this rifle really for any great accuracy. I don't have an optic, of course, on it. It's just iron sights. And probably going to set this stand here at 50 yards to start with, which is close for an M1A, very, very close. But I want to start here. I haven't shot it in a while, and just see how we can do. So I'm lining it up here with the big 50-yard target there. And we'll see how it goes. That is a project that I have in mind for this M1A, is I do want to put an optic on it. I would kind of like to get an optic that is somewhat historically correct for an M14 in roughly the Vietnam era. My M1A has a surplus M14 stock on it. I swapped out the original, and I'll show you later on when we get back to the house my original stock. But I do want to put an optic on it at some point. That's a project I've wanted to do for a while. All right, I think we're ready to get started. Target looks really tiny at 50 yards, y'all. Through iron sights. Oh, it's tiny. Let's see how we can do. Let's go down there and check it. I want to make sure I'm hitting something, and I can't see from here. Check this out. I was on my way down to the target stand, and I found a 5.56 round, I think, or 223. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, it's a 223 round. It's bent. It's kind of a hazard laying around. I'm gonna take it back and throw it away. All right, guys, check this out. These are my 8 shots at 50 yards, iron sights. Not a bad group, guys, not a bad group. When I look at this through my iron sights, it's very tiny. It's just a little black dot is all I can see, so it's not bad. All right, guys, so here's the plan. I'm gonna shoot the rest of this magazine at 50 yards, and then I'm gonna move back to 100 and see if I can hit anything. It's gonna be a challenge, honestly, at 100 with the iron sights, just due to my visibility. That's the biggest hurdle, but the rifle is certainly capable, and it's doing well so far. So let's shoot the rest of this and we'll move it back. All right, guys, there's my 14 rounds group at 50 yards. Let's move it back. All right, guys, so here's what I've decided to do. I'm going to use this target. It's in really good condition. Someone else put it up here, and I put my black target over their previous shots. So here's what it looks like at 100 yards. That's me way over, boop, way over there. It's less likely I'll accidentally shoot my target stand. I don't want to sacrifice it at this distance. I don't know how well I'm going to be with iron sights, so let's give it a try. Hey guys, have another shooter that came into the range, so They're downrange, and going to give them some time to get set up. I'm going to shoot this last magazine at 100 yards, and then we'll call it a day. All right, we shot a magazine there at 100 yards. I'm running all the way down here to get it, and I want to get out of this guy's way that's here. So looking forward to checking my target, and then we're going to skedaddle. Looks like my shots might have been a little high. So yeah, they were. They were a bit high. Look at this. Look at this. I need a spotting scope if I could have caught that. I did get one here in the black, and I'm pretty sure maybe some of these are mine. This is a pretty new board. This board hasn't been here long, so I believe these are some of mine here, maybe even here, up here. So there's my, what I would call a group. I mean, it's not bad. It's not terrible. There are some outliers, but the general hits were in this area right here. And that's pretty tight. That's pretty tight, so. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about this rifle a little bit, and we're going to dive into some of the history. And just to start things off, I'm going to show some features of the rifle, just so you know what you're looking at if you're considering buying one. My M1A started off as just your basic package M1A. It has the full-length barrel. It is not a match grade. You can buy these match grade with a match trigger and a bedded barrel. A few $100s more. I didn't want to do that, and especially if you're not going to go with an optic and shoot distances for accuracy, like all that's not really necessary. And I've had this rifle several years. It's not necessary from iron sights just to have that extra capability. However, when I put an optic on it, you know, then things will change. This is the original stock. It's a synthetic stock. You can get it in different colors. Of course, this is like an OD green finish. You can get it in black, and I think you can get it in tan as well. This is fine. It doesn't, you know, shrink or split like wood. It is, you know, durable. It's very basic. I wouldn't say that it's pretty. It does have a little bit of a recoil pad on the back just to make it shooting a little more comfortable. And it has sling mounts on it already. But I wanted that classic look. You can get Springfield M1As with walnut stocks, brand new. But I bought a surplus stock. This is an M14 original stock. And you'll see that it's walnut. It has the upper handguard here, which is a synthetic. Looks like, you know, looks like wood to match, but it's a synthetic, like fiberglass shell on the top. Mine has the flash hider on the front, the full length one. You can get the shorter barrel versions kind of come with a muzzle brake style. Have several different size magazines for these. This is a 20 rounder. It came originally with a 10 rounder, I believe, was the original magazine. It just barely comes down below the stock. One thing I'm not hugely a fan of on these styles, and that also goes for like the Ruger Mini 14 and Mini 30, is I think the M1 Garand was the same. The safety is in the trigger guard. It's on safe when it's pushed back. It's on fire when it's forward. So you can, when you're on safe and then you get on target, then you can bring your finger in the trigger guard and then push it off safe. I just don't like it being in the trigger guard. You know, I always get on target and I don't put my finger in the trigger guard until I'm pretty much ready to fire. That's just the way, a habit I've always been in. With this, you have to come in the trigger guard to push it off safe. When normally, when I'm shooting anything else, I'll flip the safety off and then finish my target acquisition, and then I'll put my finger in the trigger guard. So it's just something I'm not really used to. With this being an M14 style stock, it has the hollowed out area back here with a little door. You see, and originally you would have a cleaning kit in there with a cleaning rod broken down into sections and your cleaning supplies in there, some patches, some oil, things like that. So I thought I wanted that on mine. Let's see. And you'll notice on the action, let me flip this over real quick here so you can see better. You'll see that it has the cutout here for stripper clips as well. So you could load a magazine that's in the rifle from a stripper clip and it still has that opening. The sights are adjustable. Windage here in the back. It is a peep sight. So you've got your disc here with a tiny pinhole in it. And the front sights right there. And you see it has the blades on either side to protect it so it doesn't get knocked off zero easily if you're rough with it. And there you can see the upper handguard. I'll just go slow so you can see. The rotating bolt design is basically the same as what the M1 Garand had. It's a durable and dependable design action. It's a lot different from, our AR-15s and a lot of modern rifles. They have a different style. But it's a sliding bolt that rotates and locks when it's in battery. You can see it when you pull it back. You can see the bolt rotate. It'll rotate and lock in place when it's in battery. Because it's an M14 stock, it had a cutout right here, and that was for the select fire. On an M14, the select fire switch was here. It's a switch that you flip for full auto. Of course, this is an M1A. It's semi-automatic. It's not full auto. This is just a dummy switch. It's not even connected to the action. It's just a dummy switch that's connected to the stock on the inside. It fills the gap a little bit. There's still a little gap there. But it looks really odd without that. So I bought that and just installed it on the stock. And let's see. That's pretty much it, just for the rifle in general. And this is one of the military style leather slings that I bought for it. Genoese, Illinois. So, Springfield has a long relationship with the military, a long relationship with the military. The M1903 Springfield rifles from World War I, they were legendary, very durable, dependable. They could take a beating. They were accurate. Even before World War I, going back into the 1800s, all the way into flintlock days, Springfield was making rifles and firearms for the government. During the Civil War, North and South used Springfield rifles, muzzle-loading design with they shoot mini balls. I have a replica of one. So there's that long relationship with the government. The M14 rifle was a transitory rifle as the military changed philosophies. From a full-size battle rifle shooting this big high-powered cartridge, the need was for an effective smaller round that could shoot more rapidly, semi-auto or 3-round burst, full auto. Soldiers can carry more ammo when it's smaller and lighter, and just urban combat is a kind of the way wars are fought nowadays. Mostly, it's not really over large, vast, open fields anymore. It's kind of up close and personal. So the M14 was a stopgap between the big battle rifles, like the M1 Garand. It shoots 30-06 Springfield rounds, a big, heavy round, The M14 came out and downsized to 7.62 by 5.4. It's a little bit smaller. And then they added select fire on the military grade rifles. M14s weren't around long, and then they were replaced by Eugene Stoner's rifle, which became the M16. So let's dive in. I'll give you some more history as we go along. Hey guys, so for a little history lesson, I had to get a couple of notes and prepare them. There's a lot to the history of the M14 battle rifle, and even more than I was aware, honestly. My dad had an M14 when he was in basic training with the Army in roughly 1965. And I knew a little bit of what he had told me, but I did a little more research online, just checking the history and writing a few facts down. And it's really fascinating. The M14 is the longest surface rifle in history. I was thinking of it being that stopgap, situation between the M1 Grand and the M16 and the AR variants and so forth. But really, the M14 has continuously proven relevance in the armed forces and in battlefields. Also misspoke in my last video. It's easy to do when you're making these videos and your mind's just going a mile a minute and you misspeak. And the main thing is that you catch them. But the rounds that the M14 shoots are 7.62 by 5.1. These are a couple of the rounds that we were shooting today, the full metal jackets. I think I said 7.62 by 5.4, and that's wrong. 7.62 by 5.1 rounds. This is what it shoots. It's basically, it's a 308 round. All right, guys, so I've got the camera resituated so we can actually look at the rifle while we talk about it a little bit. And I know you probably couldn't care less if I'm in the frame or not, but I just wanted, since I'm talking to you, I wanted to also be in the frame and put this rifle out just while we're discussing some facts on it. So the M14 was developed in 1957. It was designed to be a direct replacement for the main service battle rifle at that time, which was the M1 Grand. Most everybody who watches my video will be familiar with the M1 Grand, like it's a legend, from World War II especially. Anybody who's seen Saving Private Ryan, you've seen M1 Grands. They were amazing. They were developed in the 1930s and gave the United States an edge in World War II because most countries at that time, for main battle rifles, were still using bolt actions. The M1 Grand is a semi-automatic rifle. Rather than an external magazine, it's loaded by an en-bloc clip that you push down into the chamber from above through the action, and it clicks in. And then when the magazine is empty on the last round, the bolt will lock back and that en-bloc clip will automatically just spring out on its own, and then you can replace it. Very revolutionary, because other battle rifles, they were slower in rate of fire, and they were a little bit more time consuming to load because people were using, armies were using stripper clips, basically, where they put that stripper down and then you just push the rounds down into the internal magazine of those bolt action rifles. The M14 was designed to not only replace the M1 Garand, but also the M1 carbine, the grease gun, the M4 grease gun, and also replaced the BAR, the Browning automatic rifle, which was a big, larger caliber rifle with full auto capability. And the Browning automatic rifle was very old by that point, but it was still effective. The military still had a need for it, and the M14 was designed to replace all four. It did replace effectively the M1 Garand and M1 carbine, but as far as being a replacement for everything, I believe that it still left a little bit to be desired. The submachine gun is a smaller, more compact design than an M14. An M14, a full-length one like this M1A, can be a little unwieldy, in the jungle or in the urban combat situation and stuff. So a shorter submachine gun style pistol or short rifle is still, needed in some places, and the M14 couldn't effectively fill that gap. But by the mid-1960s, roughly 1965, the M14 was the rifle in the military. Servicemen going into Vietnam, they were receiving basic training with M14s. The Marine Corps had adopted the M14s at that point. But that was short-lived. That part of the M14's history was relatively short-lived. There was a need for a smaller caliber, even smaller than this, and a rifle that was a little bit shorter, maybe a little more versatile, with a higher rate of fire, and not a wood stock, because in the jungle environment like Vietnam, it's raining all the time, and wood swells, it shrinks, it cracks, breaks. I can see where the logic behind implementation of the M16 came from. And the M16 was a good design. Eugene Stoner designed it. Armalite, picked it up and produced those M16s, and Colt picked up that design and produced them. They were new, and in the beginning stages, there were bugs that still needed to be worked out and resolved with M16s. If you research Vietnam, there's tragic stories of M16 failures in the field where they would jam up and cease to function. And a lot of soldiers were saying, I wish I had my M14, give me my M14. I want that thing back because it didn't cause me these problems. But once that system was refined, once the M16 AR-15 platform was refined, it became dependable, it became durable, it became preferable in many cases than the M14. So I've got a few notes here. I'm going to cheat and look at my notes a little bit. Well, the rate of fire. If anybody wants to go into all these statistics, of course, you know how to use Google. You can say, well, you can find out the minute details. But the M14's rate of fire was roughly 700 to 750 rounds per minute with an effective range of 500 yards. Just shooting this today at 100 yards, I'm like, wow. Without an optic, I couldn't shoot that far, but the M14's effective range is up to 500 yards. There are variants to the M14. There are variants even to this M1A, as I mentioned, with the match grade rifles. And they are very accurate, very, very accurate. And that's one of the things that keeps this platform around, is because it's so old. It has also been refined over time and continuously improved. The couple of sniper variants that I looked at was the M21 and M25. They are marksman variants. And there were snipers using them during the Vietnam era, mostly spotters. I read a book recently about Chuck Mulhaney, and I know that the primary sniper was using Remingtons, bolt actions. But there are spotters, and some snipers, if they didn't have that Remington rifle, were using M14 variants, even during Vietnam, and they continue to do that. So the armed forces are using these variants even today. The SEALs, Delta Force, they're using these variants. And I had to write that down for my notes, by the way. That's why I'm looking down. The SEALs were using variants of the M25 sniper. DMR, the designated marksman rifle, the DMR, that's the version that it's still around in the military today. The Mark 14 Model 0, Navy SEALs use that variant. So suffice it to say, the rifle is very capable. It's a proven design. It's not always, depending on the situation, it's not always about having the highest rate of fire. It's not always about having the largest caliber. It's about delivering rounds in a predictive, dependable, accurate way that's effective at distances. And it's all about distance. It's distance to target. If you're going to shoot something over 500 yards away to some great distance, then you're going to use a 50 caliber or something, for those distances. There are lots of options. It depends on the mission, and it depends on where the target is anticipated to be. So I found that to be very interesting, and I just wanted to share some of those thoughts with you. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching my video today. I hope you found something that was enjoyable to you. And again, happy Veterans Day to you veterans. And yeah, just if you like my little channel, like, comment, share, subscribe, do whatever you want. Or just go on to the next video. It's fine with me. So take care. God bless.